Hello everyone, my name is Saber, and today we're taking a look at something pretty interesting. Right now there's a channel on YouTube called Uncategorized. Not much is known about the channel or its creator or its origin or anything else about it, other than the extremely short animations. In tonight's video we're going to explore this channel and everything about it to find out what we can. On the surface this looks like an art channel, but I think there's more that's going on here. And I don't mean like an ARG, like, oh look, it's the spooky guy from that one thing everybody likes. I mean there is an actual mystery here that I want to find out. And if that sounds like your thing, then I hope you stick around and enjoy the video. By the way, I see you typing in the comments,
Saber, Goosepoos already made a video about this.
look, big YouTubers steal my ideas all the time. I will spend literal months researching shit and then a bigger YouTuber will come out with their bisexual video essay. Also, I love how the title says it's unsolvable, even though I'm doing exactly that in less than 45 minutes. I hope it's less than 45 minutes, I'm still making the video. Anyway, yeah, that's about it for post-production me. The channel itself only has 7 playlists, but we're only going to look at 4 of them. The playlists we're going to talk about are the only important ones. Creepypasta, Way Back Home, and Don't Get Your Hopes Up seem to be purely made as art projects. The other playlists are more relevant to the investigation, quote-unquote, that I'm doing, so we're going to talk about those instead. If you want to look at the others, then you're going to have to go to the channel and watch them yourself. I'm only saying that because if this video blows up, then it's only fair if I at least try to give back. Almost all the videos seem to completely lack audio. Sometimes there'll be like one sound effect, and the next there'll be a jump scare. And there's only like 2 jump scares, one of which we're not even going to talk about. The videos themselves seem to be the only content on the channel. In the description of all the videos, the community page, and the About section all leads back to their Patreon page. I'm not going to talk about what content the Patreon page has, mainly because I know it's probably going to drive traffic towards that and hopefully they can benefit from that, assuming this video does blow up. It's not. I know no one's going to watch this, but I would feel bad if it did. Sorry if it looks like I'm looking up. I'm trying to keep my eyes focused on the blue light that shows me where the webcam actually is. I don't usually do face cam videos, so sorry if I keep glancing down at the monitor every now and then. From what I found so far, No Sleep only has a social media presence on 3 different sites: YouTube, Patreon, and TikTok. The TikTok page has all the same videos as the YouTube channel, so you're not really getting anything different if you go to the TikTok page, which isn't linked by the way. So I think the TikTok page might actually be a fan account because the YouTube channel doesn't link the actual TikTok page, but the YouTube channel is linked in the About section on the TikTok page, so maybe they just forgot to leave it, or maybe it actually is a fan account. The TikTok page seems to just have the original YouTube videos uploaded. Now, I mean, it is just the original videos. Usually what they'll do is they'll just take the original content, leave it at the top of the screen, and then at the bottom there'll be either Subway Surfers gameplay or oddly satisfying soap cutting bullshit. I swear to God, it's like there's something in the water supply that's given everyone the absolute worst case of ADHD. TikTok has absolutely destroyed everyone's dopamine receptors, and unfortunately I don't think we're gonna recover. There's a lot that's up for debate right now, so there's gonna be a lot of maybes in this video. While doing research for this video, I came across a few discussions on the code board on 4chan. For some reason or another, the local Anon started calling her Nia for some reason, so we're going to call her that just because saying the protagonist or the main character is going to get real repetitive really quickly. In this video, we are going to cover some pretty heavy subject matter, so if there's anything that's like traumatized you in the past, then you may want to skip this one. However, if you don't care about that stuff and you're just as interested in the gothic sort of Tim Burton-y art style that I am, then you're gonna want to stick around. And with all that being said, without further ado, I hope you enjoy the video. Our first playlist starts off with a video called Underwater. In it, we see Nia hanging out at what appears to be a lake or a pond. She looks up and sees a dark figure wearing what I'm pretty sure is a pair of rain boots and a raincoat. Kinda like the kid from Little Nightmares, but evil. The figure then traverses into the pond until it's completely submerged. Nia recoils in fear. Cut to a wide shot, then the video ends. You can't escape. The video starts with Nia sitting at the beach, minding her own business. In the background, we see two hills. The one on the left has a city skyline, and the one on the right has a graveyard. And it's here where we get our first jump scare. The sky turns black, where at first it appears that there are two pairs of eyes looking down. Then the words "You can't escape" appear on screen. As the video continues, we see footsteps coming from the cemetery. As soon as the footsteps finally reach Nia, a heart rate monitor flashes on screen, and we cut to her corpse, which has been split in half. This is going to be a common trend that you're going to see in a lot of these videos, where you're just watching the plot unfold, and then before you know it, either something bad happens to Nia or she just dies. Kinda like Kenny from South Park, Childhood. The video is an endless loop, where we see Nia standing in her room, and every time she blinks, there's a monster that appears. Shadows in my room. The video starts off completely blank, but then we see Nia turn the lights on. In the back, we see two shadows, one of which begins opening its eyes. The shadow continues to slowly open its eyes until the video ends. Obviously, the reason why this playlist has been labeled Childhood is because a lot of videos feature some of the fears that we've had as kids. I mean, who hasn't thought about monsters that can only appear when you're not looking? As for the other videos, I think they're more specific to the creator's childhood fears, like the pond video for example. It should be noted that most of these videos don't have any audio and appear to be rendered at a very low quality. I'm gonna go over why I think that is later in the video, but for now, let's just keep things one at a time. Also, sorry if I'm whispering a lot. I'm using an AI program to clear up my microphone's audio quality, and I have to speak in a very specific tone, otherwise it's just not gonna work. Just like last time, I'm gonna go over the videos themselves, and then I'm gonna explain what it is. The overall theme in this playlist is gonna be relatively obvious, so I don't think I'm gonna have to do much explaining, but I'm gonna leave no stone unturned and decipher what the true meaning is. We start off with a video called "I Woke Up in a Strange Place." It's only 7 seconds long, and all we see is Nia waking up strapped to a bed. In the second video, called "Angel," we open up with, you guessed it, an angel. But then we cut to Nia being injected with monster energy because she's a real gamer. That's not actually what's happening, I just thought that was funny. We cut to our other video titled "Again," where again we see Nia as an angel. But then we cut to Nia waking up strapped to the same bed, but this time hooked up to various tubes and medical equipment. Little sister. This one gets pretty interesting. So this time we open up to a doll in a dark room. We see a figure stop by to look through the window. Then we cut back to the doll, which looks back at the character. The figure from outside opens the door and walks into the room, and it's implied that the doll somehow killed the man. I have a theory about why I think that was a man and why the doll may have killed them, but I'm gonna save all the theory shit for the end of the video. We cut to our next video called "Exploring," where we see two characters both wearing a gas mask. Our two goofballs over here decide to break into the asylum. They both trek down the hallway only to find a dead end. A hand reaches down and grabs the explorer in the background. We see a face approaching the other one, and the video ends. Run. We start off with a view of the same building from outside, then we cut to who I believe is Nia walking in one of the hallways. We find some text on the wall that was written in Korean, which translates to "escape" or "run away." Ignoring the message, she continues down the hallway, and then this happens. The video ends just as it began, with a shot of the asylum from outside. Some of the keen-eyed viewers might have noticed that the screamer that popped up looks like Nia did during the Angel video. The last video was just called "Get Down." It's obviously based off a meme from... Jesus Christ, I'm old. Anyway, it's implied that this is a cruel lab experiment, and as the video continues, we can see blood splatters on the screen. and as the video ends, we can see Nia is clearly exhausted with this experiment, and for the first time we can hear Nia is out of breath, which is like the closest thing to spoken dialogue as we're gonna get. So far it seems like Nia is either trapped inside of an insane asylum, or a prison, or a laboratory of some kind. Whichever one it is, it's clear that she's being kept in captivity and being used for some kind of experiment. Again, I'll elaborate in the theories part, but for now, we should keep going. Our first video, called They're Coming, starts with a pair of eyes peering through a wall. We then see a shadow that vaguely looks like Nia pass over them. After a close-up of one of the eyes, we cut to what appears to be a torture scene. In it, we see three characters, one with a box for a head, the other with a smiley face, and a third one in the middle that also looks like Nia. The silhouette continues until they reach the entrance to hell. We then see the shadow figure from the underwater episode, now surrounded by what I assume are tortured souls wailing out in pain. He's here. Our video opens with a single frame of Nia appearing as though she's excited. We get a look at the landscape, her smile grows smaller, and for just a split second, we see a version of Nia that looks hollow and traumatized. We then see her ride an elevator up to the building's rooftop. We see Nia standing on the edge outside the guardrail, and just underneath, we see some text written in Korean which translates to sorry or sorrow. We cut to black, then we cut back to the same landscape, but now we see the hooded figure front and center. Surprise. We open up with the hooded figure. Alright, saying the hooded figure is already getting super repetitive, so we're just gonna call it the shadow. We see the shadow give a box to Neo. She opens the box, and then it sprays her with red shit. Immediately after getting sprayed, it's evident that she's been poisoned by the gas. She begins to bleed. A lot. Then she shits out one of her intestines and dies shortly after. Obviously, this video is trying to illustrate what it's like to have a period. Obviously, only a woman would know what it's actually like to have that, which is why I'm assuming that the creator is a woman. Bathroom. Obviously, as the name suggests, this video takes place in a bathroom. We see Nia approaching the stalls and entering the only one that wasn't locked. As she starts to do her business, the lights begin to flicker. We then get a top-down view of the room. We can tell this is a gas station bathroom by looking at the stall on the left. In the stall on the right, we see the shadow loom over and watch her like an absolute creep. It should be noted that this is the most popular video on the entire channel, which means if you've seen this channel before, then that video was probably your first. Sky. In Sky, we can see Nia minding her own business on the beach. The moon blinks, revealing itself to actually be an eyeball, and we see the links between the stars grow thicker and more detailed. Leave me alone. Starting with a close-up of Nia's face. Cut to another angle where we see the words "Leave me alone" written in English. We see Nia pick up a pistol and point it at her head. We then cut to a wide shot where we see a realistic eyeball peering in through the window. I don't have any quippy remarks about this. If you feel so, then you can always call 988. Know that you are loved and there's always a way out. If the creator is watching this and they actually did feel that way, then I'm sorry and I hope you can move on from whatever made you feel that way. You have an adoring fan base that loves your work, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that we would all be very heartbroken if you really did take your own life. Morning. We see Nia, half awake, probably because it's morning. Then her closet opens and we see a creature inside. Shower. The video showcases Nia in a public washroom, and it appears as though she's sharing that room with someone else. The subway. We see Nia taking a ride on the subway and everything seems pretty normal for once. Then we see a taller person sit a bit too close for comfort. As she steps out one of the cars, the lights turn off. There is now a giant red wall with a giant red eyeball. Before she can register what's going on, two black tentacles drag her to the ground and immediately kill her. Movie night. We see Nia walking into an empty theater, realizing she's alone. She decides to relax until the movie starts. We see the projector turn on and the lights go off as the movie's about to start. As the movie goes on, we see demons start to appear in the background. And when the movie's finally over, we see a red stain where Nia was sitting. Tooth Fairy. We watch the sun rise. Nia finds that a tooth is missing and that there's a coin under her pillow. Pretty standard stuff so far. Cut to next morning, where this time we get to see the Tooth Fairy for just a split second. Again, I absolutely love the art style here. She checks her pillow and everything's pretty much the same as yesterday. Cut to the next day, where this time we get to see a little bit more of the Tooth Fairy. But Nia isn't waking up this time. Her entire mouth has been ripped out and it looks like she might have died from blood loss. Bad morning. This video is really short and it has audio, so I'm just gonna let it play out. Sins of the Flesh. This video starts with Nia resting on a bed. A red dot appears on the screen, and we cut to Nia now with her clothing ripped, and it appears as if someone is moving her off screen. We cut to our next shot, where now it looks like she might be dead. Someone is still moving her off screen, and as this plays out, we can hear a mechanical sound, almost like a hydraulic piston. It's obviously implied that she was sexually abused. Whether this is just a fear that the creator has, or a nightmare, or if this actually happened to them is up for debate. Obviously, this is playing more into my theory that the creator might be a woman. I already promised that I would leave all the trivia and theory stuff at the end, so I'll keep it out of here for now. I'm really trying not to dwell on this because it's such a sensitive subject, and I think someone who's willing to hurt anyone like that deserves to be thrown into a wood chipper. But hey, that's just me. Walk with me. We get a POV shot of someone traversing down a hallway. We continue until we meet our tour guide, Nia. As she leads us down the rest of the corridor, the environment becomes more and more twisted. Peephole. This video takes place from the perspective of someone looking through a peephole. At first it looks like Nia's walking up to the door, but pretty quickly we realize that that's not Nia. After scanning the doorway, the creature begins to look back at us through the peephole. As soon as we blink, the lights turn red and it becomes apparent that this thing is not human. We blink a second time and we can see the words "The End" written on the wall. Crimson Snow. This video has background music, so I'm gonna let it play out normally. Suffocation. We see Nia sitting in front of the camera, then the shadow appears immediately after. He summons barbed wire and tries to strangle her, kinda like in that Silent Hill movie. Right before it gets bad, she wakes up realizing it was just a dream. Hole. We start out with a red pulsating mass, which is actually just a hole in the ground. Nia begins to stare at the hole as it appears to be bleeding. She then begins to feel something strange. She looks down to see what's going on and finds that there's an eyeball where her navel should be. For me, we see Nia alone, looking down. Then a very familiar hand gives her a rose. She accepts the gift, but immediately after taking it, it explodes. Looking confused, as I'm sure most people would be. I mean, he did just give you an IED. We see the rose begin to lose its color, and Nia begins to turn red. Alright, these next two videos, Freedom and Inside, they both have audio, so I'm just gonna let them play out just as God intended. Punishment. Alright, I'm not exactly sure if I can say what happens, because to put it bluntly, this is some Mortal Kombat shit, and I'm not too sure if describing what happens is TOS friendly. The video itself isn't age restricted or anything, so I'm pretty sure I can just show it to you. Just imagine this one has audio. Warm bath. Our video starts off with Nia taking a bath. We then cut to what looks like the same tub but now filled with blood. On the left we can see what looks like a giant razor blade covered in blood, and on the right is a bottle of pills. We see her head emerge from the surface, with the video ending shortly after. Oh, here it looks like Nia's recovering from some kind of injury, repeatedly slamming her cast against the counter. By the way, I know what you are probably thinking of when you saw that one, so I went ahead and added that sound effect in just for you. Laugh. We can see what looks like a clown screaming at Nia. But this time, something's off. Her clothing is different and her hair is red. This continues until we see the clown hanging from the ceiling with the words "laugh" written on the wall. The final playlist we're going to be looking at is titled On the Phone, which I'm assuming was meant to take advantage of the YouTube Shorts and the TikTok, vertical scrolling feature. Why did I do that gesture? I have my phone with me. The first video is titled For You, and it features Nia, who is still red from the previous video. She's holding her arm out, and coming out of it is a rainbow going into a bucket labeled For You. I'm assuming this is maybe their way of coming out as something, but still being vague, probably to conceal their identity. All the red coming out, it probably symbolizes them not loving whoever gave them that rose from before. I might be looking too deep into it, but it's just a guess. Maybe it's an artistic thing. Maybe it's an artistic thing and I'm just dumb. The second video is titled Wrong Answer, and in the video we can see the words wrong written on the wall surrounded by question marks, with our main character now hung by a noose and pissing itself because if you haven't seen that South Park episode about it, you piss and shit yourself when you die. Before we get into theories, I want to quickly summarize what the main appeal of this channel actually is. First, let's address the elephant in the room. If you grew up with early 2000s YouTube, then you might have felt nostalgic while watching the video. This is mainly because of the short length and the low quality of the videos. For those of you who are too young to know what I'm talking about, there was a time during the early days of YouTube where you couldn't upload videos that were longer than 10 minutes or above 720p, unless you were a good boy that got into the YouTube Partner program, which consisted of like 6 people. Something else you may have noticed is that the videos kind of have this Tim Burton-y Invader Zim kind of art style. That's because another really big part of the early 2000s was the goth/scene culture. I know they're not the same thing, but on the surface they seem similar, and emos hated both of them because they were seen as fake copycats. But emos don't exist anymore, so it literally doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. Another really big part of that era were flash animations. This is an entirely different rabbit hole in and of itself, so I'm going to give you the really brief explanation. There used to be a program called Adobe Flash. Essentially, this was software that made animation much easier for the average Joe. So, combine easy animation tools with really short runtimes, and you have a recipe for what was in most cases really successful YouTube channels. Here's just a few of them that you might recognize.
Strong man, you just keep doing your thing, man. Get out of my house!
I do what I'm told.
Sir, it's a...
Get out of my car now!
Why are you yelling at me?
Because you won't fucking get out of my car!
Hello there, young child. I'm here to inquire about your spoons.
But Saber, you ask, what about the ones no one's heard of? And that is what I believe the main appeal of I Can't Sleep is. As you watch the videos, you're supposed to get this feeling that you're unearthing something old and forgotten, while at the same time feeling nostalgic for things from that era. And I'm not alone thinking this. There are loads of comments on various videos that have the same opinion, talking about how it feels nostalgic or almost comforting. Alright, now that I've gotten you hyped up, let's get to the theories. Alright, now that we're on the same page, I want to go over some theories I came up with. Theory number 1, the creator is a woman. The reason I believe this is because in their Nightmares playlist they feature videos about having periods or being sexually assaulted. Last I checked, men don't have periods and we're not as afraid of being raped as most women are. Before anyone tells me that men do have periods, you're not supposed to bleed from your ass. If you are, then you should either stop wiping as hard or see a doctor. That's all I'm gonna say. I also think this person probably doesn't speak English, or at least isn't American because of how many languages they use. To play devil's advocate, they probably just used multiple languages to throw people off. But other than a few clues, quote unquote, we don't really know much about this person, and I think that might be intentional. I think that this channel is more than just an art portfolio. This is someone's diary. A lot of these videos are about their childhood and their nightmares, which people don't usually talk about that unprompted. A lot of the topics of these videos consist of very personal themes, like nightmares, traumas, and things that happen in life. So I think that this is just someone's way of keeping a record of that. Alright, so here's my leading theory. Our main character, Nia, has gone through some trauma in her past, and for one reason or another, this leads to her believing that summoning a demon can fix her problems. And in a couple of videos, it seems like it does. But you see, here's the thing about demon possession. It doesn't work like in The Darkness 2, where you just let the demon possess you and then you get superpowers. I think that all of these videos where you see something horrific happening to her, I think that those nightmares or visions are a symptom of the possession. I believe that the hooded figure that we've seen every now and then is actually the demon. You may be asking, why would you ever want that for yourself? Again, there's two theories. Number one, because she played The Darkness 2 and thought that you can get superpowers from it. But I'm more inclined to believe theory number 2, which is that she's had trauma and abuse that I can't specify because of YouTube reasons. She went through that, then the demon came to her and said that it can make all that go away, and then she accepted, and then now the demon is using her to kill people. Whenever we see the demon or the shadow, it's usually trying to offer something to her. And I think that that is actually a metaphor for the demon offering to solve her problems in exchange for her soul or whatever demons want. Take Little Sister, for instance, where we see a doctor or someone trying to do something scary to what looks like a doll, and then the doll kills them. I say kills them, but we only really see their body hanging from the ceiling. Or how about Laugh, where the clown is scaring Nia or something, and then we cut to the clown hanging from the ceiling. Albeit the clown isn't exactly dead, it is still twitching, but it's still hanging. Or how about Freedom, where we see Nia hanging from a balloon. I don't know about you, but I think the symbolism is pretty obvious here. So basically, the demon theory is this. We see the demon, or the shadow, trying to get involved with Nia, giving her gifts, making appearances, and small things like that. Then we take some videos where she's being experimented on and abused, and just think about how many of those videos there are. She finally accepts the demon's gift, which is why her hair is red in the lab video, and the demon, now controlling her, is now killing people. But I also have another theory. My other theory is a little more underwhelming. She's a schizoid. I think that the videos where we see her in a psych ward are the only videos that are in real life, and that everything else is in her head. Yeah, I know, it's a cheap cop-out, but it's an ending that we've seen in numerous horror games and horror movies, and as fucking lame as that is, that actually could be the case here. Emphasis on could. I really hope that's not actually what's happening here. My main theory behind this is that whenever we see Nia kill someone, we usually see a different version of her or an inanimate object to represent her. All of the murders that we've seen was her way of getting revenge for what happened to her. The reason why she constantly hallucinates dying in horrible ways is because she's a victim. In reality, she's been stuck in a psych ward, and all the experiments that we've seen the doctors doing was actually a more messed up version of what was actually happening. Like, say, in a psych ward where they're giving you medication to keep you calm, or that one episode where the skyline suspiciously starts to look more and more like a padded room. And the reason why she's locked up is because, again, she's a schizophrenic that is a danger to herself and others. The only time when we get to see the real world in this series is when we see the exploration episode. When we see the two explorers traversing down the hallway, it looks as though it's been abandoned for quite some time. And of course later we find out that that's actually not the case. There is something living in there, and it gets both of them. I think whatever cryptid or creature that was Nia. She's been stuck in the institution, something happened, and the institution is no longer like able to keep people there, and because she has no place to go, she just lives there now. Maybe it wasn't her and it was just a crackhead that killed both of them. I also have a third theory. All the videos we just looked at could be based off of someone's actual like real life history, like their actual past. What I'm thinking is something awful happens to a person, they take that and then they make art from it, and that's just it. It's just art, and that I was looking too deep into it. I strongly feel like there is more that I'm not seeing here, but maybe I'm just reading in between the lines. Either way, I had fun looking at this series and trying to decipher a meaning. The main reason why I made this video is because I really like this channel and I want to show my appreciation in a greater way than just leaving a comment, so making a video was the next best thing. I hope that this channel can get bigger, I hope that more people talk about this, and I hope that if these things really did happen, that the creator can recover from it. If those videos were just about a phobia that they may have, then I totally get that. Also, there's like a shit ton of fan art of this character. Most of the stuff I found was on 4chan, but you can find more on Instagram and Twitter. A lot of this fan art is coming from non-English speaking people, and I think that's because of the lack of audio in pretty much all the videos except for like maybe 5. Because there's no spoken dialogue of any kind, at least any that I found, the videos are able to break the language barrier and reach people that don't even speak English or Russian, which as far as I can tell has proven to be a really huge advantage. But what did you guys think? Did I miss some? Did I get something wrong? Do you not like seeing my face? If so, then leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. A like is always appreciated, subscribe if you want more, and as always, I'll see you next time.